All right, welcome back everybody. So as you recall from last time, we started to strip this bike apart so I could do a top end on it. So we're gonna continue with that. So we gotta take off, this is the rocker box, an oil feed for the rocker box. There's a stay here we have to take off, get all these little acorn nuts off. Then we can look and see what's underneath there. So let's go ahead and start with that. All right, so start getting these acorn nuts loose. All right, break this oil line loose here. Get this out of our way. That. These do not thread on very far. Some nice thick washers underneath here we don't want to lose. Grab a magnet, see if I can get them off of there a little easier. It's always interesting to see how somebody decided to put a bike together. So, remember from the first video where I did the introduction, it looked like this bike had been beautifully restored, but it definitely didn't do anything with the frame. At least not the top pieces that were kind of hidden, but that's okay. Yeah, I guess it's okay. You don't see them anyway, so. So that is, this should now come off. Rubber mallet. There we go. So break free. Just tap around very gently to break the seal. So you can hear how it changes sound when it breaks. Well, that gasket was no good. You can already see that that's torn. So somebody, I don't think anybody ever went in this engine. I think somebody did a cosmetic restoration and left it at that by the looks of this. Because that shouldn't have just torn like that. I don't think anybody ever went into this engine. So yeah, I'd be surprised if this thing actually even ran, ever. But that's okay. I got a good deal on it, and that's what we're gonna fix. So one thing that's different with the Triumph engines and BSA, Triumphs have your push rods are external. They ride inside of a push rod tube. On the BSAs, the push rods are internal. They go down in this cavity here. So we're going to have to figure out how to take this apart. So it looks like there's some nuts here. Some bolts here. Let's get this head stay out of the way. Here's another one of these instances where this is not a Whitworth bolt. This was ended up being a 9/16. That's connected to the steering dampener. So let's see if I can just get that loosened up enough I can spin this out of the way. This is also your Zener diode here, the charging system with this big heat sink on. If I just get this loosened enough, I can spin it out of the way. There we go. Hopefully I can get the head off with that there. So let's see, I don't want to lose which push rods go where, because I'm not sure if they're different lengths. So I'm actually going to try to label these here. This will be left exhaust. Plus you want to put them back the way they came anyway. Maybe if let's see what happens here. Wow. We may have to take these rockers out. There's bolts under here on this side. You know what, before I go too far, I've done a lot of Triumph engines. I pretty much know them by heart. This is the first BSA I've done. So I think before I go too much further, maybe I should consult the manual. I may have to take these rockers out. All right, let me look into this, and when I get it figured out, I'll be back. All right, guys, so we're back. So I checked the manual, and my suspicion was correct. I don't know if you can see this. There's two bolts under here. You can see these two bolts here on the intake side. There's two bolts here on the exhaust side that the exhaust rocker shaft covers up. So what the manual says to do is loosen your adjuster so you can get the push rod tubes out. Then take this nut off, take the rocker shaft out to the left, and then carefully take these, and you're gonna have spring washers and regular washers on both sides, so keep them in order. That allows you to get to those 2 bolts. So you take these 4 bolts, then there's a bolt in the middle, maybe not. Oh yeah, down in there. There's a bolt down in there. And then these bolts here on the outside, 2 here and 2 on the other side. So that's what we're gonna do now. We're gonna take this off. I'm gonna do just what I said. I'm gonna loosen these adjusters. Okay, I'm gonna try to get my push rod tubes out. Take this nut off, pull the shaft out this way, and see if we can't get this head off. All right? See if I can get you guys situated where you can kind of see what I'm doing. So, get these adjusters loosened. You do not have to take the inside, or I'm sorry, the intake. You do not have to take the intake ones out. Actually, what I'm going to do first here, I'm going to rotate this engine over to get as much relief on these valves as I can. Okay, there we go. See how that now has play, and this should shortly. This adjuster here loosened up. Alright, so they're not going to come out until I take that shaft out, but that's okay. Alright, so let's see if we can get, so take this nut loose. Nut. Washer. And we're going to put this right back together so we don't lose anything or mix up what goes where. See, this should just tap out, it says. Or maybe not. It says it should. I'm going to put this back on until I can break this loose so I don't booger up any of the threads on this rocker shaft. That would be bad. Then we get a bigger hammer. See if my dead blow will get this loose. Oh, there we go. Now let's see if this will come out. Oh boy, that's a really tight fit. See if I can tap it out a little bit more. These are the kind of pains you go through when working on some of these old British bikes. Plus, it probably hasn't been apart for 50 years. All right, we'll have to get a drift of this. There we go. Now it comes right out. All right, now we're going to be careful here. Watch that we don't lose it. It says in the manual that everything should stay together. We'll get a nice clean rag and set this on. Okay, so there's that. Now this should be very careful. There's a whole bunch of washers. So I'm gonna stick my hands in here. Okay, this is gonna be fun to put back together. So we have a spring washer and a flat washer. And then on this side, we have a flat washer. So we're going to put this right back how it came off. Spring and flat, rocker, and then a flat. And we'll come over here. And also I'm going to do is pull this push rod out so I know which one is which. It fits down in a cup inside. Goes on that side. This one was not put back together correctly. So we're going to have to fix that. Each side was put together different. I don't think they're supposed to be that way, but the manual will confirm which way they're supposed to go. One side I think is wrong. All right, so there's that. And I'll put this washer nut back on so nothing gets lost. All right, and there's that. Pull out the last push rod for the exhaust side here. Now I'll know which ones go where. Now I can get to these bolts Okay, what you want to do is you want to just break them all loose. Okay, this side is. Side's a different size. Because you want to take them off kind of evenly so you don't warp the head. And then for these, we're going to have to get a wrench on there. Yep. Somebody over torqued these. These should not be on this tight. I always say a lot of times when you're rebuilding or restoring or just fixing a bike, what you're really doing is unmessing up what somebody else has messed up. There's a lot of people that will try to do this stuff and they won't necessarily do it right. I'll look up the torque specs for these nuts, but they should not be that tight. Ugh. All right, now we can start taking these the rest of the way off. Oh yeah, I forgot about the one down inside. I better do that now before I forget it. There's one down inside there that you have to get out. And a smaller extension. Oops. These are going to fight you the whole way out, it looks like. Turn for a little bit, then they kind of get stuck up again. There it goes. Okay. There's one bolt. Put this here. See if I can make my life a little bit easier here. All right, we're back. I got all those nuts off. The head actually came right up. It wasn't glued down, so that was good. I got the intake push rods out. I laid them out so I know where they go back, which ones go which. You want them to go the same place they came out of. Work this up off the studs. Oh yeah, that's in bad shape. All right, let's see here. Might have a problem here. That stud is stuck, is hitting the frame before I can get it up off. Okay, so after a little bit of checking as to why I couldn't get the cylinder head out of here with the engine in the frame, my suspicion came true. This stud interferes with the top, interferes with hitting the backbone of this frame here where you're trying to lift the head up. You can't get enough clearance to clear all the studs. My generic climber manual didn't mention anything about it. I kind of had a suspicion I was going to take this stud out. I checked a factory manual, and sure enough, in the factory manual, it tells you take the stud out. So what I did was I found a nut that fits those threads, and then double nutted it basically with the acorn nut and cracked it loose, and the stud's going to come right out. So now, with any luck, that'll allow me to get this head out of here. Hopefully that gives me all the clearance that I need. Wiggle this up. And there we go. Watch my wiring harnesses over here in the way. And there is the cylinder head. So we're going to get these, I'm going to end up getting these valves cleaned up. I'm probably going to take it to my machinist guy and just have him do the head while I have it off. I'm going to have him put new valves, seats, and everything in it while I have it apart, I think. By the looks of the rest of this engine, nobody's ever been in it. So I think just to be safe, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have this head redone as well. So let me just get this over here. All right. So that takes care of the head. Off camera, I had already taken off most of the cylinder nuts. I just left 2 left. They're awkward to get off, and it would have taken a lot of time for you guys to watch because a lot of these in here, you can only get like a quarter of a turn with your wrench, so it takes forever to get them off. Nothing, and the box end doesn't fit, a socket end doesn't fit, nothing fits in there. So it's just one of those things, takes some time. So now we're going to pull these cylinders off. I rotated the engine with a Kickstarter so the pistons were all the way down. And I hit this with a hammer a couple times to hopefully break it free. Yep, and it's free, so this should come right up off. These things are going to have to be redone by the looks of it. Look how nice and nasty these pistons here are. The rings are all moving freely-ish. The top ones, there's a lot of sludge in there holding the rings in it, especially in the top groove. This one here is totally collapsed. It's stuck in there. This top ring on this piston here is not even expanding or moving. It's totally stuck. So yeah, I'm gonna have to at least pull those pistons off, clean them up, see what's in there. I'm not sure if they're, they may have already been oversized. It's hard to say until I get all that gunk cleaned off the top. So I'll probably take those pistons off and I'll hit them with a wire wheel and see what's in there. In the meantime, you don't want anything falling down to the side. So I'm going to get a couple of rags. Stuff down in there. Because the last thing you want is any kind of debris getting into the base of your engine here. And here you can see the camshaft. Maybe I'll pick you guys up, see, so let you guys see in there. So if you look down in there, you can see your camshaft down in there. Okay. We're going to pull these pistons out later. First, I'm going to clean up the inside of the bore of the cylinders here and see how bad they are. I guess what I'll do here is, here, let me pause you guys for a minute so I can resituate everything. So here's our cylinder. So if you look down here, I don't know if this is going to show up on the camera very well. There's a lot of crap inside these cylinders. There's a lot of rust on these walls. I'm going to have to get these mic'd and see if they're in spec. Actually, it looks like there might even be some pretty decent grooves in some of these. Maybe not. These will at least have to be cleaned up, if not bored over. This little area here, if you look down in there, this is where your this is where the push rods went. There's things down there in the bottom are your cam followers. If I flip this head over on its side for you, here you'll see these are your 4 cam followers. Okay, so these rise on that cam I showed you in the bottom of the motor, and as these go in and out, as the cam pushes them up and down, they operate on the push rods, which operate on the rockers. Sorry, I lost you out of frame there. Which operate on the rockers, which open and close the valves. So that's how they do that. These don't seem to want to just come out. I'm gonna have to check with the manual and see how they come out. Probably want to take them out before I take it to the machine shop. But those are your cam followers. That's how the valve train works. Okay. So for now, that's about it. We got the engine all stripped apart. The head actually doesn't look too bad. Here's the head. But I think while I have it apart, not knowing how many miles are truly on this bike, it says 9,000 on the speedometer. That may or may not be correct. I don't really know. And by the looks of the tops of these pistons here and how these rings are stuck, well, I guess what we'll have to do is we'll have to clean everything up, make some measurements, and see where we stand. What you don't want to do is go to all the trouble of tearing this apart, put it back together, and then find out you got to take it back apart again because it's not performing like it should. So if it needs new pistons and stuff, it'll get them, and but we'll go from there. But you see, there's a lot caked on. That's a lot of stuff, I think, for 9,000 miles. So I got a feeling it's got more than that. But we'll do our due diligence, clean everything up, measure everything, and I will report back. So until then, get out in the garage and work on something.